Let's do it.
Don't love hearing my voice. Marie? Sorry it's so dark. And yeah, welcome again. Thanks for making enough time. And I hope none of you had any issue with the marathon, and that was easy and simple enough to find. I think we're missing, I guess, 4 people. So sorry if there's a disturbance when they come in later, but that's just how it goes today, apparently. About today, I'm just gonna talk for about 10 minutes or so, go over the entire program again, kind of what we expect from you, what you can expect from us, and how the program's gonna go. There's gonna be some time for questions, a little bit of an introduction as well, and just some basic facts about the program. And then at around 12:20, the actual learning will start. So maybe as the very first thing, I guess all of you know me, I'm Christopher. I've been talking on mail with most of you, I think, and then there's also my colleague Marie. So we are the 2 people that actually work with Hack Your Future kind of during the week. Everyone else that's involved with Hack Your Future is a volunteer. So it's really important that you kind of respect the volunteers' time, because they're all working professionals and do this in their free time, just for fun and out of the good of their hearts. So that's really recommended or commendable. And if you have any other questions regarding Hack Your Future or your train tickets or broken computers, that kind of stuff, you can always come to Marie and us, Marie and I. Anything else regarding the actual content of the classes, it's always better to ask the mentors. Oh, Marie, grab seats. Yeah, I know, it's tough today. I have a seat. So maybe I'm going to steal the screen for a second, if I can.
Probably not. You need to select the source.
Yes. Source. Right. So that's the thing. I had this great idea to get the Chromecast because I thought it would certainly be practical and really nice, but it's garbage. Don't buy a Chromecast. It's a waste of money and just frustrating. Yes. So is that working? So you can also get used to that nothing ever works. There's always going to be some hiccups. So we're going to get a new logo soon, so just so you don't get confused about visual identity. That's probably going to be looking like that for the upcoming years. Here again, the agenda for today. We have a big lunch break at 2 o'clock, and then we're just going to take small breaks in between. So, when you feel like it's getting a bit too warm in here, or you feel hey, I can't really focus that much anymore, and it's been over an hour that we've been teaching, then just say how about a 5-minute break? Don't be shy to say that. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll have a slightly bigger break, 20 minutes, we'll have a bit of food. You can, of course, always grab coffee and tea, but then there'll be a little bit of extra food. And then we try to finish at 4. And you're always welcome to stay a bit longer and ask more questions. But that's when the official session ends. I don't know how many of you actually know about the history of Hack Your Future a bit, or know a bit more about the background of it. It's an initiative that originally started in Amsterdam in 2015, I think, late 2015. So they've been doing it for quite a long time. They've grown much bigger in size. They've had, I think 80 graduates or something by now, so it's really great. I think 65 of them or so work in jobs now, so it's a whole other scale. They've really built up the whole curriculum too. So everything that we do, in a sense, is derived from their work. So we build on top of what they do because, of course, they are in Holland. They have a slightly different job market, slightly different requirements than we here in Denmark. But you can always imagine that Hack Your Future started there. And here in Copenhagen, we started a bit over a year ago. So it's actually relatively new, but we've also gotten a lot of experience in the meantime. We work really closely with the other branches. There's also schools in Brussels now. There's one in London, in Glasgow, in Manchester, in Athens, on Crete as well. and Malmö, of course, just across the bridge. So lots of schools with this that follow the same curriculum, the same sort of principles, and yeah, we try to like have as much exchange between the different chapters as we can, so we learn from one another and like, try to get better. And then in order to kind of make the program better, it's also really important that you kind of give like feedback all the time. If you feel like, hey, I think we've not been doing enough in like the last class, like I think we could move faster, or like I don't know, the homework was really unclear, like I didn't really know where to start, or if you have ideas or something, like you can always like give us that feedback and like always keep us informed. Like if you feel like, oh, I don't really know what to do anymore, then always let us know before you get too frustrated or don't know what else to do. I think most of you probably know that anyways. I'm just saying it again. Like we try to make the program better all the time, but for that we also need your input and your feedback. Then curriculum. I think also most of you know what you're actually going to learn, right? I mean, I think most of you are aware like how it's approximately going to go, but I'll walk over it again. So right now we're going to start with this module over here. These different blocks we call modules. Hey, Constance.
Hi.
Okay. So each module is about 3 to 5 weeks. In the beginning, mostly 3 weeks. You can consider this red part the fundamentals, basically. So like everything that we're going to learn afterwards is going to tremendously build on this part. So in order to understand what's coming afterwards, it's really crucial to know about these fundamentals. So you can also expect this part to be by far the hardest, just because if you haven't learned JavaScript before, that's a whole logic you have to get into. So it's definitely challenging, but I mean we try really hard to make it as approachable and easy as possible. And we have some really great mentors that know how to do that. So yeah, once we finish this fundamentals part, we might do a small test to see if everyone is kind of on the same page, if it makes sense to move on to the next modules, because here we work with different frameworks based on JavaScript. So if you don't really understand JavaScript at that point, then it's going to be really difficult to continue. Once we've finished all of these classes in turquoise or blue, green, as the very last thing, we're going to work on a real-life project, or like a real-life product, we call the final project. That's going to be another 6 weeks, and that's actually the most useful skill you're going to acquire throughout the whole course, because you will build a project or like a product that actually works in the real world. You will have it on your GitHub profile. I don't know if all of you already set up GitHub accounts. Not super necessary today, but like at the end of the day or like until next week, all of you should have a GitHub account, because we're going to be working with that every week, and if you want to choose this career, you'll be working with it forever. So that's really important. And this final project is also going to be on your GitHub portfolio, and that's what employers in the future are going to look at. It's going to be very clear like what your code looks like, the quality of the actual work that you do will be represented through that project. So the more effort you put yourself into this program, the better that project is going to be, and the more likely you will be to have a good portfolio to show. So it's all about how much you put into it yourself. Does that make sense so far? I think I maybe talked about this too often, so I don't really listen to myself that much anymore. I kind of went over this. Have you all been to our GitHub curriculum online? Have you had a little look, and do you kind of know how to find your way around it? Nice, that's great. Again, we try to teach you how to do things and not specifically like what you should learn. There's a ton of extra things that you will have to learn when you become a professional. It's more about, we try to teach you some fundamentals and teach you how to approach new topics and how to learn new frameworks. But yeah, that ability to solve problems independently by yourself, that's going to be really important that you pick up. Which leads to the next point. I think the very first class or so we started, someone asked me in the beginning, like, hey, but it sounds a lot like I can teach all this to myself, so why am I here then? And it's actually a really good question, because in theory, you could teach all of this to yourself, but it's much harder to do alone if you don't have like a group of other people who are learning together with you, and also a group of mentors that actually have professional experience with this. So we're basically just helping. I mean, we're showing you where you can look, and we're showing you or explaining certain concepts, but all of this information theoretically would be online. Like you could find all of this for free on the internet. It just would take a lot more work, but it's possible, you know, like you could just like get up and leave and be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just Google it myself. But just consider this a really fortunate situation for being able to learn in a group, and really also use your classmates, because every one of you will go through the same sort of learning process and like learning steps. So I think that's also a really good opportunity to learn from someone that is learning the exact same things as you at the same time. Okay, that's an analogy I used in the last class because it was a bit more necessary maybe, because yeah, maybe you should see Happy Future as a water dispenser, because like we're not gonna bring the knowledge to you. You kind of have to like go to us and like get the knowledge yourself. Like not to sound lazy or anything, but I think asking questions is super important. As said, like the mentors that teach you things, they're busy during the week. They're really happy to help, but they're not going to spoon feed you the knowledge individually all the time. So like I picked this water dispenser because like it's not fully obvious to me where the water would actually come out, or like I know where it comes out, but I don't know how I get it to come out. So like maybe I press this button here, or like perhaps here, or maybe it has some sensor here and like it'll come out. Like I would see our Slack channel in a similar way. Like you'll have to test it out a little bit and figure out like what's the best way for me to actually get answers. But you know, the water's all there. Like this tank in Happy Future is pretty filled to the rim, so like you just gotta get it out there. Yes. So what can you expect from us? Like we try to really live up to this as good as you can, and I think if anything of that goes wrong, you can always blame me. In the end, like don't put the blame on other people too much. It should be me. As said, like we want to support you as much as we can, but we don't have time to like individually hold everyone's hand. You know, like if you want individual help, then you gotta try to find it. But we're not gonna like come home to you and read you code at night or something. That's not gonna happen. I think we want to give you a solid foundation that you can build on, but you still have to work a lot with that. Like just coming to classes and doing exactly just what we'd say, like that's gonna give you a great foundation, but it's not gonna guarantee you a job or anything. So like we don't guarantee anything in general. It's really like a lot up to you. Yeah, show you how to solve problems like a web developer. I think that's mainly up to the mentors. We built the GitHub profile. I talked about that a lot already. And then there's also the network part, of course. So you have the chance now as well that in every one of the modules that we're teaching, you're going to meet at least 2 or maybe 3 professionals that work with those things daily. So they, of course, also become your professional network because you know them already. They're open to your questions all the time. You can write them on Slack. You'll probably add them on LinkedIn or something. That's a really good starting point too, because at the end of the day, too, like you will get jobs through your network. Like that's always the way that 80% of all jobs happen in the end. I mean, it's always certainly been like that for me. By just applying for jobs, like you can get lucky, and like skill is great, but it's even better if you have a friend of a friend that sits in the company somewhere. So yeah, after like Happy Future, in the end, you should have at least 16, 15 or so like IT professionals that you definitely met in person. So that's a really great starting point. We also try to bring you to developer meetups, so you kind of get to know the community of developers in Copenhagen. So like, try to keep that in mind as well. Like it doesn't just happen in here. Like there's a whole other world around there. Like it definitely doesn't hurt to get involved with that quickly. And it's actually a really inviting and fun community. So don't be afraid to. Yes, and then of course we can also provide recommendations at the end of the program if we feel like that's accurate. So, maybe seems like a bit of a demanding first slide for you guys to see, but welcome. I just explained a bit about the program. You haven't missed anything of the like crucial learning yet. But yeah, like what we expect from you, I think this is something that I kind of have to hold people to after a while. But yeah, like you have to be a bit responsible for your own learning we can't do that for you, obviously. Homework is important. I mean, we think about the homework a lot. It's not just a made-up culture that we like throw onto you because we feel like, I don't know, we don't know what we're doing. We put a lot of thought into it, and doing the homework really makes it easier for you to follow in the next week and the week after that in general. So once you've missed 2 classes or you haven't done homework twice in a row, like, then if I see that, I notice that, then I will start to think like, I don't think you're able to follow anymore because there's too much that you're missing. So really do the homework, or at least make an effort to start on the homework and then try to finish it later. But yeah, just try to be prepared. It gets really hard. So yes. Of course, then you should also treat us like an employer. If we want to give you recommendations afterwards, I need to see that you act professionally towards us. I mean, I know this is a very loose environment. Some employers in Denmark are also quite flat hierarchically, and they're very friendly and so forth, but still, like, be on time. If you can't be on time, write a message on Slack, let the teachers know. If you're sick, let us know, like, ideally not like 5 minutes after class starts, but like somewhat within a reasonable time frame so we can plan, because we need to know how many people there are. I said this in the beginning too, like, most of all, respect the time of the volunteer teachers because they're here on their free time. They're busy already as it is, so it's a really great gesture of them to spend their time here. And they want to help you, and they need your support too though. Like, the more enthusiastic you are in class, the more fun they are going to have. Because, I mean, for you guys, teaching also is a lot of fun, and you learn a lot through that as well. So it's not just like pure giving and all that, but still, like, it helps a lot to be enthusiastic. Yes, and asking lots of questions, can't say it often enough, just like ask away. Don't be shy. Like, if you feel like, oh, this is a stupid question, no stupid questions, doesn't exist.
Do you have any questions right now? Come on, bring it on.
No stupid questions though. Yellow room, sorry. Yeah, and of course, it never hurts to impress us a little bit. Like, if you want to do it extra and you feel like, hey, I have this side project and I maybe want to work on that a little bit, I want to show it around, that's always great. I mean, those are always the students that excel the most too, that have the side project that they work on where they always continuously apply the new skills that they've learned. So, like, some people here, you can ask around during the break and talk to some of the other students. Like, sometimes they just build like their own personal portfolio page, or they have some like restaurant project page that they want to do, and like after week, it just gets more and more complex and crazier, and then eventually you really, even as a professional, you look at it and you say like, wow, okay, this is actually really good. So that's always perfect. I mean, homework is nice, side projects even better. I'm gonna skip this one because it's gonna take too long, but maybe I'll talk about this next time. And everyone's connected to the Wi-Fi. Otherwise, you have the network data and information here as well. And yeah, network KPH and the password. Apparently, yeah, someone hasn't changed the password in 7 years here, so easy to remember. Okay, and then we're already running a bit late, I know, but I'm gonna do a really quick round of introduction. And I thought what could be interesting is if we say our name and then just say something where we think that might be unique about us. I know it's a bit hard to think about, but you'll have like a good minute or so to come up with something. Maybe I'll start. What's unique about me? And then if someone else has the same thing, then you can basically raise your hand and I lost the game. So then I'm not unique enough. What could it be? I can kickflip on a skateboard.
Come again?
I can, on a skateboard, I can do skateboard tricks. I can do a kickflip.
And that's unique.
I don't think it's that unique.
I can do it. I'm not saying I can't.
I'm taking a blind guess that maybe this room it could be unique.
I'll take this around.
But maybe I got lucky. Yeah. But then maybe do you want to continue or can you think of something? Oh, my name's Christopher, of course. But I thought you maybe know that. Sorry.
That's so tough. Okay, I don't know.
Okay, who can think of something unique?
Okay, I can continue. Let's turn around. Hi, my name is Svetlana. And what's unique myself, I think I'm really terrible at singing. Okay.
Singing.
Yeah.
Oh, you can sing.
Okay, maybe not.
No, but good.
But you guys are good, okay. Everybody
A
can
lot of good
sing,
singers.
I guess.
Abed.
Hi, my name is Abed, and I can copy paste the last time I did, same. I have no uniqueness. I'm pretty general. So that's my uniqueness.
Don't you have extensive knowledge about the Bangladeshi space program?
Space program, okay, yeah. Actually, we launched a rocket in the weekend, during the weekend, yeah.
Maybe you were the only person that knew about that.
Yes, that's true.
That could be
Yeah,
Or the only person who watched it live.
that's true. I was alive for 12 minutes, something. I bet no one does that. Probably. I can see two Bangladeshi also here. Probably they did. Did you watch them? Then you could.
I didn't watch it live, but I was.
So I'm not unique then.
They didn't mention it on Twitter News. They just focused on local politics. It's a shame. But yeah.
Hello, I'm Anu. I don't know what I can say about my uniqueness.
Anything works.
You can dance, sing.
I was a dancer, but I'm not. I was a professional kind of dancer. I was learning, but now I'm not pursuing it anymore.
Okay.
So it will not be considered.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Anybody
unique.
professional dancer here?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
only
nice.
you.
Right.
What kind of dance? Bollywood?
No, I was into classical dance.
Classical,
If
okay.
you know about India, we have 6-7 classical dance. So I was into my own stage classical dance. The name is Odissi.
Great. It's pretty unique.
Yeah.
I would say it's unique in Denmark probably.
But I have not danced for past 10 years. Not 10, 7-8 years. So I've left.
Great to know. Thanks.
Yeah. Anas?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Anas. I'm from Jordan. I can say that I'm a multitasker since I have worked in IT field for around 6 years.
IT field?
Yeah.
Oh, we are working in IT field more than 6 years. So it's not that unique.
Yes.
Okay. So you were a professional developer or something?
No, I worked as IT supporter.
IT support, okay.
Not here in Denmark. It was in Dubai.
I also worked in that for 3 years.
Great.
It is true that all the cars are super fancy with
Yeah.
taxes and
Not
businesses.
for all.
Yeah, but. Okay, guys, I'm Marcos. I'm from Argentina. I don't really have a refugee background or asylum seeker, so yeah, I'm pretty thankful for the guys that exemption and let me be part of this. And what's unique about me? I would say that I know the 151 first Pokemons.
You know that?
I used to have
Did
it.
you also have them is the question.
In which game? I mean, you can't have them in all. We're talking about Game Boy games.
No, if you had Pokemon Yellow and Blue and Red, then theoretically you could have gotten them all.
Okay, we got a deal.
I mean,
No. Scyther was also.
Oh, you
always
mean
like-
Pokemon Go?
No. I'm talking about the GBA games. Scyther in Safari Zone, it was hard to catch. I didn't never get the trick, throwing rocks and everything. But yeah, it's not unique neither. Come on.
That's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
My name is Isan, and I'm not finding something unique in me, but I hope I will be unique in this class.
It's pretty unique.
no special hobby.
I play billiards, pool,
Okay.
snooker, these kind of hobbies I have.
Didn't you also write that you were in the cricket club?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's-
That's
I don't
maybe
know.
kind of
Yes.
unique in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the Copenhagen Cricket Club CCC or something? Did you write about that?
I think the most of the people there are from Pakistan and
How many members does the CCC have? Okay, you could be the only CCC member in here. Is that right?
Yeah.
yes.
I always confuse them. Cricket and croquet. Which one is which?
Cricket is the British
The
It's
baseball.
just like
baseball,
It's
with
baseball,
the
that's
black
what I
diamond,
know.
and
Croquet is the one that.
British.
terrible description.
I don't know. It is a pretty outrageous, like, strange sport to me, but I don't know. Moving on, sorry.
I'm Huda Aditya. I don't have actually any uniqueness, but when I was in Bangladesh, I worked in IT field as an assistant system admin with the Linux server. And after came here, then I didn't find the job. Also, I forgot everything.
Okay.
So now maybe I will be uniqueness with JavaScript and others.
All right. Uniqueness through JavaScript. That will be hard in here, I think. But,
yeah.
Samara?
Hi, my name is Samara. It's also a tough question what's unique, but maybe in this class, like I'm a filmmaker.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Know other filmmakers?
Filmmakers with a real camera or the mobile?
No real cameras.
Okay, I'm also a filmmaker with a mobile. That's good to know.
Shiva?
I am Shiva, and all I don't really find unique if super do tricks and skateboard and longboard dancing.
Uh-huh.
So
Longboard dancing, you said?
yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah.
fancy. Nice.
Well, my name is Sajid, and I think I would describe myself as a technology dinosaur because I kind of missed the boat. My background is law related, so I think I used to argue with Microsoft Word quite a lot, but that was as much as I did as a keyboard warrior. So I think my uniqueness probably is I recently joined Facebook. Probably one of the last people that ever decided to join Facebook, and then when I got on there, there's all this scandal about the information that they've been passing around. So I'm not sure how I'll get along. I might just delete my account now.
So you joined Facebook and immediately had all your information stolen.
Yeah. It felt like it. I was just like, do I really want to be part of this? Yeah. So that's about me in a nutshell.
Okay.
I'm Mohammed Mushir Muhammad. I think I have no any uniqueness at all. But
Come on.
I like to travel
Okay.
Nice.
and
I like to travel too.
Yeah, I wish I can travel the
Have
whole
you
world.
traveled to any unique places?
I mean Europe, almost Europe I have visited almost all countries.
Okay.
I mean like some island. But for me, Central is one of the best.
Okay. Right.
Nothing special.
No place where you think maybe no one else has gone?
Not some place, but this is not. I mean, I cannot describe it. It's like very little place. Maybe it's only for me, but nobody knows it. Maybe it's in. I mean, behind my home.
Okay. What's it called?
It's not like. But if it is famous, then everybody is. I mean, visited.
Right.
Hi, my name is Constance, and since I have no twin, so I think I'm the only one with this face.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
one.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
It's true, good point.
Yeah.
So we could have come up with that earlier, but yeah, nice. You're the first one.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks.
I am Krishna, and I think there is no one here as a web designer. I have as a web designer. I'm good.
So great.
Hi, uniqueness.
Hello, I'm Dignesh. I'm interested in strategies. I guess I'm good at chess.
Okay.
Good or master? I mean, people are good.
I guess I'm good at chess. Maybe we should have a board game.
Okay.
Do you play chess on chess.com?
I don't play online.
Maybe we can play.
Nice. Right.
Alright, my name is Ishna, and I'm very much passionate about photography, especially trick photography.
I'm Haritha. I think I'm good in making big family. I have 6 kids.
That's.
Does anyone else have 6 kids? I certainly don't.
So I don't know how I will find time for this, but I try.
I will also try to have 6 kids.
Yes, I'm Muhammad from Syria. I think I will playing table tennis.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You play table tennis here? You play in the
No,
club?
I studied that.
Okay.
Mate, I do have a question for you. Do you drink mate? No? Ah, I thought it was like a thing in Syria. My bad. No, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, like I actually didn't know it was Argentinian until recently. I thought it was a Syrian thing.
Yeah, it's coming up from there actually. But yeah, I heard that also in Syria people was drinking. I was hoping that we could share, you know what?
But did you also put the cardamom on top?
The what?
The cardamom, do you put it on top?
That's, I never heard about it. Ah, yeah, okay, you can put
That's
something.
the Syrian twist. But yeah, alright, we already went overtime a little bit, sorry. But yeah, now we've learned a little bit about one another, and then you can take it away from here.
Murray, you have something about the practicalities here? Toilet
Yeah,
and...
maybe exactly. I should just make a little introduction to the place. As you saw here, there's coffee and tea and fruits always when you arrive. You just help yourself. The toilet is just kind of across the entrance. So there's 2 toilets. In the end, like of the hallway here, there's a kitchen. So down there, that'll be where we have the lunch later on. That's also where you can always go and grab water, or if you're missing anything in class. Like it's very much like help yourself and feel at home. So of course you can always ask us if you are looking for something, but in general, just you can find things yourself as well. Like Christopher also said earlier, like any questions related to the program, computers, anything,